Well, it's December 9th, 2022. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's Andy Johnson here with you on this edition of AM Prime on WESN. Let's tell you what's happening over the next hour and a half or so. We will be talking with Mr. Kiran Singh. He's the president of the Greater San Fernando Chamber of Commerce. We're talking about economic fallout caused by floods, how that has affected people there. We're also talking in this edition of the program with Mr. Colin Graves. He's head of public relations at Digicel. They're talking about the installation of collective bins for e-waste at that organization. Right now with us, Mr. Shane Mohammed. He's a political analyst. We're looking at the impact of the resignations at the Progressive Development Democratic Patriots in Tobago. Mr. Mohammed?
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Not too bad. All is well?
Well, for now, I think. So you see an impact. Some people think it's no big thing. It will make for a better understanding of how this Tobago House of Assembly is set up and how the representatives get to represent people. And it's not on the basis of party lines that you get in there. Somebody was pointing out, for instance, the way in which people are seated suggests that it's not as sort of antagonistic as is the House of Representatives or even the Senate. What's your take?
But I think one of the people keep talking about the structures and the way in which the THA was structured. And the way in which the THA was structured was really and truly for there to be, even if we go all the way back to 6.6, that is where you would have seen the real construction of the THA from the perspective of what it was meant to do. And one of the things that it was meant to do was to allow for political development, and political development from institutional development, from the perspective of institutional development, and where it pushed and encouraged the politicians who sit at the seat at that point in time to think outside of the box and to more so because it's a circular setting in the assembly, to think more towards the interests of Tobago and Tobagonians and the responsibilities and duties in which they were charged with, rather than the political aspect being and putting the political agenda to the forefront. Unfortunately, Mrs. Tracy Davidson Celestin did not see it at that time and has not up to this day seen it in that regard. However, time immemorial, even former chief secretaries would tell you, Mr. Hojo Charles would tell you, that is indeed how the act was created and how it was designed for there to be, and even former Attorney General Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, who I have great respect for. I think he's one of our best attorneys general ever, will tell you that the interpretation of the act and how the act is designed is to create more camaraderie than antagonism in the interest of the people of Tobago.
Right. So therefore, it doesn't matter if you belong to a party or not. But the thing is that these people went up as members of a party, and people in the average public mind, people voted for a party, you know, so?
Well, I would say that in this instance, having sat in Tobago before and after those elections and studied on the ground the perspectives of the people, they didn't vote for the PDB per se. They voted for the team led by Farley Augustine. That is what they voted for. We have to take into consideration that our electoral process and the whole idea of elections requires that each person who is submitting themselves up for to be elected, that person has a symbol, right? Regardless of what that symbol is, the individual is required to have a symbol, whether that symbol be as simple as an emoticon smiley face. So I think at this stage, in the aftermath of the election, we have to move past the PDP and start to look at how did they win? They won because of the leadership of Farley Augustine and his ability to capture the minds of the people of Tobago, and by the selection of the team that was put together. That is what is the impact. That the impact was really about the Tobago people voting for Fali Augustine for chief secretary, and the PDP just simply being the symbolic conduit for that.
So Watson Duke doesn't figure in that kind of analysis at all.
Duke does not understand many things, Andy. One of the things that Duke doesn't understand is simple politics. He doesn't understand how to, and I think he does. He does realize that. I mean, at the end of the day, having lost the 2020 election, which was his election to win in the Tobago East seat, and having only been able to lead the party to 6-6, he would have realized very early that his leadership was what was not working for the PDP, and to even cross the threshold that was needed to win. And he would have recognized that Fali was the better leader. That is why he stepped down and stepped aside, stepped back, literally stepped back. He was rarely ever seen in the forefront and focused more on the Roxborough environment seat that he holds. What he is doing now is literally playing politics, as he has been doing for the long, as he did when that from the inception, which caused this issue to arise as it pertained to the Roxborough folk performers in New York. That is playing politics and trying to grand charge and realize that, the roles and responsibilities. Why it is? Let's put it like this: he was a deputy chief secretary and political leader of the PDP. What impact did he make? Why did he not? I mean, he would not have needed OJT a chance to sit down and feel the seat and feel get a feel of things. No, he was given a portfolio and he was given very specific goals and objectives to achieve. In the time that he sat as the deputy chief secretary and in the chair, did he achieve any of it? The answer is no. It goes to show Duke is a poor leader.
Right, what do you make of the comments of some people in Tobago who are saying that we didn't vote for independence, we voted for members of an organization?
Yeah, you voted for members of an organization because the electoral process required you to vote for members of an organization. But it had the organization. But had the process did not require an organization to exist, then ask yourself, would you have still voted for Fali Augustine as chief secretary? And the answer to that is quite simple, yes. So the individual far outweighs the symbol, and it automatically shows that one man is not an island. And furthermore, Duke will go down in history as being one of the few political leaders in this country that has relegated himself to the opposition by virtue of a mass exodus of persons from his party as a result of his poor leadership.
Were you on the call for there to be fresh elections based on
what?
this?
To do what? To do what is the fresh? What is the fresh elections? What is the need for the fresh elections? Did the administration fall apart? Did the administration collapse? No. Did the leadership? Was there a motion of no confidence in the leadership of Fali Augustine? The answer is no. Did the members of the Legislative Council did they all vote against Fali Augustine? No. Has he lost control of the majority vote? No. Has he continued to, and has the legislature continued and the assembly continued to operate in a manner that is representing the needs of the people of Tobago? Yes. Are they working assiduously to move their agenda, their promises and their agendas and their goals in the various sectors and under the various divisions? The answer is yes. So is the assembly working? The answer is yes. So therefore, there's no need for an election. All this call for an election is nothing but politicizing this entire thing when there's no need for it.
Yeah, but there are different views on it, as you would appreciate.
Yes, there are. And I know one of the most significant ones is from Dr. Vanas James, who I consider one of my colleagues, stating that they should resign and move away from, they should resign and call for elections because they were elected under the banner of the PDP.
Yes.
The answer to that is yes, only because the electoral process in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, regardless of the election, requires the individuals who put themselves up for election to have a symbol next to their names. If you ask the Tobagonians whether or not they would vote again in another election for Fali Augustine, the answer would be yes. Dr. James believes that the Assembly and the Fali Augustine and the various secretaries have not delivered on their mandates over the last year. Well, it takes a lot of time to ascertain what there is, what has been done, what was, what should have been done, what are the illegalities involved. There's a serious analysis, assessment, exploration for sure, of what existed prior to them getting into office. It's not like you're picking up you're picking up the portfolio and you're walking into office and you sit down and then you open the book and you say, okay, let's start. No, we still had to look at it. They still had to look at the zip line, right? And I have to say the word we because we are citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. So we still had to look at zip line. We still had to look at all of the various arrangements made under tourism and transport. We had to look at all of the what was under health and whether or not the Roxborough Hospital was functioning or functionable, and the answer to that is no. So one of the top priorities of the Secretary for Health and the Deputy Chief Secretary now was that the operationalization of the Roxborough Hospital, which meant operationalization from the very bottom come up, meaning from the recruitment process to getting it off the ground and having it operate and function like a hospital. That takes a lot of time. And you've served in all the various capacities. You could have an understanding of how important this assessment of where the assembly was, where the administration was, what they needed to look into, and whether or not they needed to recover money for the people of Tobago. So it is just not simple. It was not simply business as usual. They win an election, they go into office, and they start from day one, from the ball to get the ball running. I had my own interview with Tasha Grace Boris, and she outlined what her short-term, medium, and long-term plan was for tourism for Tobago. As we now stand for the season, right now in the cruise season, there are 78, 43, and 71 ships. 71 ships are carded to come to the shores of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, 43 of which are going to Tobago. That's a significant thing. That now tells us that the whole idea of building proper infrastructure for ship docking of that magnitude is needed, not only in Scarborough, but also in Charlottesville, which has now been listed as a destination on the Tobago route. So there's a lot that has been happening, a lot that has happened, but a lot of it has also to do with putting down things on paper. If you speak to Trevor James has an immaculate master plan for the city of Scarborough. That takes a lot of time in putting. He had to do consultations. He had to do stakeholder meetings. He had to revert the consultations again because it will include diverting traffic. It would include making some streets one way, some streets no traffic at all. It would also mean that there would be the movement of business of offices further away from that congested area in Scarborough, lower down. So there's a lot of work that is going on. The Assembly reports to the people of Tobago every Thursday, right? It's not like they've not been hearing. I don't understand why there's this need for persons with the intellectual capacity, such as Dr. Vanas James, to say to Fali and his team that you need to resign because you were elected under the PDP. The PDP does not even exist anymore. The PDP is a one-man show. The PDP in Tobago has collapsed itself. So all of the attempts of Watson do to push an image of grandeur has fallen at his toes.
You think that the electorate in Tobago is seeing it, I would say we have to look for a majority, are seeing it in the way that you are articulating?
I believe so. I believe if you sit down and you walk through the malls and you speak to people in that are walking around, and you go to Pigeon Point and you talk to people, they're going to tell you that, you know, the PDP, the administration recognizes. It's not like they don't recognize. The administration recognizes that their honeymoon period and their OGT period is quite over as of this month, which is a year since the last election. And therefore, there is 75% of the term remaining. Therefore, that 75% of the term remaining must ensure that the Chief Secretary's vision for Tobago to be the greatest little island on the planet to become a reality.
And so people would not be concerned about, been bothered by some of what Mr. Duke has been saying, that this thing was mounted upon what he calls his brand, and that Augustine and company don't have a brand of their own, and that people will come to realize that.
No. Again, nonsense talk. Duke is all about a lot of talk and no action. And that is one of the reasons why I believe he's not a good leader. He's not a good leader because had he been a good leader, this whole is, and had he let us, but one of the main reasons he's not a good leader, Andy, is because Duke does not understand simple things. He does not understand the Constitution. He does not understand the operations of public administration. He does not understand that there are rules and regulations that govern how we expend money in this country, and public funds especially. He expected, the very fact that he expected the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly to somehow just simply sign a check and send it to those the Roxborough folk performers stuck in New York. It is mind-boggling. It is stupid. It is ridiculous, and it calls for him to reassess himself and reassess himself and really think about what misbehavior in public office is and what it means and what it carries with it.
Yeah, you say that he doesn't understand the processes of public administration, but he was president of the Public Services Association, although yes.
And Andy, let's ask ourselves again, why did the members of the Public Service Association want him out so desperately? Because he is good at talking. And that's another thing. Being the head of a trade union and understanding public administration is two various things. There's a role and responsibility and a role that trade unions play under the framework of political science. They are responsible for collective bargaining. They are responsible for ensuring good working conditions, safety, working conditions as it pertains to health and safety, and ensuring that the rights of employees are met and are satisfactory, right? Those are just off the top of my head, the roles and functions of a trade union. The minute a trade union traverses and starts to become political, we find ourselves in a situation where the trade union becomes an antagonist to the government. There's no government in the history of Trinidad and Tobago that has listened to an antagonistic trade union. That's a fact, right? From the partnership to the current PNM administration to the PNM administration before. Once a trade union became antagonistic and showed signs of antagonism that really and truly sort of obstruct the functions and the governance of the administration, you would realize that they paid very, very or little no attention to the noisemakers, and that is what they were labeled. That is what Duke was good for. He was good as it pertains to getting the plight of the workers known, letting it be known, letting it be recognized. But there were many persons in the public service that didn't agree with Duke. They said Duke made a mess out of the public service.
Well, it's a fact. I mean, he's created the records. I think he suspended people in double figures when he was president. So that I take note of that. So you think his intentions now about sort of mounting a beachhead in Trinidad, you think that has been affected negatively by what is happening in Tobago now?
I don't even think it's worth discussing, Andy, because I don't think it even got off the ground.
Well, he's been filmed walking through areas in East Port of Spain and being greeted by people sort of positively and
I can say to you that I can say to you for a fact that I know when he went to I know what was the arrangement made for him to go to meet to the persons, especially in Lavendale. And I also know that by his own mouth and certain comments made that was captured by our news reporters while he was up there. Soon after cameras stopped rolling, he was run out of. He literally was told to leave because that was not the agreement that was made. He went up there under certain premises, and as soon as he got there and started to ramage, those premises flew out the door, and so did him, because as soon as the cameras stopped rolling, he was told to get out of town.
All right, we got to go, but you think there's not much to be worried about with these current developments in the THA and in Tobago?
Andy, I will say it again, much ado about nothing. The focus that we should be focusing here in right now, our main focus right now should be our the current government, their functions and responsibilities, the administration, what they are doing for the people. The fact that half of Trinidad and Tobago has been washed away by flooding, and there's some serious infrastructural work that needs to be done. And we have to ask ourselves, where will the government where would Mr. Imbert get the money to give to the Minister of Works and Infrastructure to start to rebuild all of those roadways and drain and river courses and home and land and home area and residential areas that have been affected by these rains and floods?
Right,
that is the question.
All right, and that's the discussion for another day. But thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Shane Mohammed, political analyst. We will take a break. Much more on the other side of that. Stay with us.
Your Christmas is safe with us at PCU. Police Credit Union. Police Credit Union. Your Christmas is safe with us at PCU. Police Credit Union. PCU. Police Credit Union.
Get an easy zero-interest Christmas loan at Police Credit Union today. Borrow up to $25,000 with affordable monthly payments. New members, you get up to $10,000. No interest, no installments until January. Apply online at www.policecreditunion.com. Loan subject to credit approval.
Better Value Limited has been making gift giving easier and more affordable for over 26 years. Power tools, indoor, outdoor furniture and accessories, mini appliances, designer fragrances, houseware and home decor products, and all your bridal registry items. Now in stock, our stylish loft bed and study desk combo unit for just $16.50. Better Value Limited. Call 235-3709 or visit us at Princestown or Gulfview, or check our Facebook page.
Take your list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the Specialist Highway.
Get all you need for your interior or exterior projects, from finishing accessories to small or large tools. We're known for our range of doors, flooring, moldings, medallions, even fountain pumps and tanks. Check us out. We have what you need to get that job done.
Take your list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the Specialist Highway.
Oceans Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marbella.
Is there not a cause? Is There Not a Cause needs more help and volunteers for the many outreach events during this busy, critical season. You can volunteer and help in many ways: your time, your talent or skills, your resources, or your finances. Is There Not a Cause is making a difference, one life at a time. Check Is There Not a Cause's Facebook page for a calendar of outreach and fundraiser events, and share where you can volunteer, or WhatsApp 394-2042.
Whether it's acid reflux, cataracts, glaucoma, a swollen prostate, diabetes, or weight loss, Customized Health Solutions has been helping Trinidad and Tobago for over 2 decades. So let us help you. Call 627-2640 for your Compass assessment now.
We make moving simple and easy. No job too big or too small. Pro Movers Transportation, Moving and Logistics. We provide quality delivery service across TNT. Call us today at 779-0802 or see us on Facebook. Same day delivery.
Horse-eye lights, tiles and bath, making your home a work of art.
Step into a spacious place of creative ideas for your home space. Our floor and wall tiles and natural stone is ideal for any use you need in your home. Toilet, bathroom sets and vanities lend design to your creativity, while jacuzzis and shower enclosures create the mood for dwelling on life's pleasures. Lamps and lighting fixtures add ambience and memorable pictures.
Horse-eye lights, tiles and bath, making your home a work of art.
Hostings Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marabella.
Welcome back to the program. With us now, Mr. Kiran Singh, the president of the Greater San Fernando Area Chamber of Commerce. The discussion centers around the fact that, well, we know what happened in the country last week or so. We've been under serious flooding as a result of the heavy rains. We're talking about, from a business perspective, the impact of those things, the economic impact of those things, the fallout caused by that weather system. Mr. Singh, good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Good morning, Andy, and good morning to Trinidad and Tobago. Certainly it's our pleasure to be on WESN.
Thank you very much. It's good to have you. So put this in the perspective that you want for us. What from your perspective, from people in your positions, what did it mean, and how has the impact been on business, as you know?
Well, Andy, good morning again. As we know that the last couple of weeks, Trinidad and Tobago experienced rain like no other time probably in recent times in the history of the country.
Yeah.
And we were inundated with floods, I think, across the country in different parts. There were areas that flooded for the first time where they experienced flooding. It was extreme. People were marooned in their homes. Some homes were flooded out because they live in low-lying areas, or the homes are also flat. And where they live on the plains, the water just invaded their homes and flooded the roads. In fact, what we witnessed was that the roads in certain areas became the rivers for the extreme flooding that occurred when the rivers breached their banks. And we would hear a number of reasons as to why this occurred. And the blame game starts with who's responsible and so on. And we need to really find a permanent solution for a perennial problem that happens year on year in certain areas in this country during the rainy season. And we could talk about climate change, and sometimes we start saying that maybe there's no rainy season because the rain just seems to fall all year through. And WASA is also experiencing problems with when there's floods. So it seems to be a exploding problem that we need to really find a solution for in a very short, quick space of time.
Otherwise, it will get worse?
Can you repeat that, Andy?
Otherwise, in your view, it will get worse?
It will get worse. And of course, it affects the productivity levels of people, the business sector, the government, persons who go about their daily lives. It impacts upon them severely. The negative impacts we saw. Looking at the floods on TV, when you look at national TV and you see it impacts you in a certain way. But when you're actually on the ground in the flood-prone areas, and you see the extreme detriment to which people are living in, the abject poverty, and you see that they have no choice but to live there because that is where their homes are, They can't go to a hotel or go to someone else's house. And you realize that there's a certain level, there's a certain number of people in this country who suffer tremendously. And it impacts you on a different level when you're actually there and you visit people's homes and realize that these people can't even get out of their homes. And
Yeah, what do you make of the, as you call it, the blame game? So one side, not necessarily politically, but one group of stakeholders blames another and blames another.
Unfortunately, that is a Trini mentality. But we looked at solution finding answers. And what we noticed was, for instance, we were happy to see heavy equipment desilting the various rivers and the drains and clearing it for the water to flow out. And of course, we also hear about the issue of high tide, that when the tide is high and full moon, and that affects the ability of the water to flow out in a fastest manner. It doesn't happen. But what was disturbing is that there were excavators removing the silt and debris from the waterways, but we didn't notice any trucks or backhoes or anything like that to immediately remove the silt and the debris and take it away from the waterway. It was being banked on the side of the waterway. So when rain falls, and it will fall again, it's obvious that all this work that they did to bank the sides of these water courses, it is just going to go back into the area that were cleared, and the problem will reoccur again. It was mind-boggling to see that, and obviously money has been spent to incur these heavy equipments, to mobilize them, to put them in these areas, and then to what extent, to what solution is that going to have for the residents who are flood-stricken week after week, month after month, year after year?
No, it's like, as they say in the song, starting all over again.
It is unfortunate. I mean, people couldn't get to work. You know, some people were fortunate to live in high-level areas, but the roads, I mean, we went with trucks to deliver food hampers, water, canned food, blankets, various basic living supplies that we need to survive. And we had to endure the unfortunate reality of seeing small children, girls, boys, walking barefoot in muddy, dark water. You don't know what is lying underneath this water. Men, women, having to walk to the trucks because we can't get to the individual homes to assist these people. And people have their paddle boats. You can't even use an engine boat for obvious reasons, because it's a road after all. And they paddle out from the narrow roads to get to where we are, to be able to get supplies, because some people are not able to leave their homes for days. And these are people who would be working, contributing to the national economy, having to provide food on the tables for their children, for their families. We saw stroke victims who couldn't leave their homes. There was just no possibility of them getting assistance. And it brings it to the other question. We have the Defense Force, the Army. They have all this equipment and assets idle. We would have thought that they would have been on the ground immediately to assist the local corporations, the state-led government, to assist. We needed all the manpower on the ground immediately, but it's unfortunate to say we didn't see any evidence of that. So we know that we hear Europeans says they're always ready and they have all the assets in place and they are the first responders and so on. But there were some areas where this didn't happen. We need to revise and revamp the process in which we deal with natural disasters in a faster manner to assist the residents, to get them out of the unfortunate circumstance in which they find themselves in the flooded areas.
What are some of the areas that you went yourself?
We went to Woodland, San Francisco, Rock Road, Debe, and when you see how people, some it's unfortunate that a certain percentage of this population, how they have to live. Our hearts went out to them that we couldn't give them enough basic water. We heard reports of the excavator going in a mad rampage to clear the areas near homes. And in doing that, they also cleared away the water lines that brought water to their homes. So in addition to their areas being flooded, they couldn't have access to water in their taps to do basic things, bathe. Forget about cooking, because you can't cook, because the stove, there's nowhere to, we saw where people's washing machines and stove and fridge, and they had to be elevated. People had to park their cars before they were flooded out, or somewhere they were flooded out, had to put them on bricks. It was mind-boggling. It was like watching some sort of movie. It was really crazy to have to experience this on a personal level that the national media is not always able to carry. Because you could literally see a sea of water across the roadway, across the housing areas where people lived. And it has impacted people to such an extent that even after the water subsided, you could still see the watermark along the homes, of the walls of people's residences, and the fence line and so on. We saw people living on, it's so basic, I can't even describe it as plywood, on stilts. You can see they have no means of income. And they live very close to the river. Of course, they suffer the consequences when the river overflows and breaks the banks and so on. And then we hear about which contractor breached the bank and all these stories that seem so nonsensical. We have laws that govern this country. And certain people who break these laws need to be brought to justice and need to be shown that this cannot continue, because they remain safe and protected in their nice fancy homes, and the poor people suffer at the hands of persons who have no regard and they're indiscriminate in how they treat with the community in which they operate, where they live. And it begs the question that we need a more holistic approach.
What made you decide to go on a mission such as that?
We saw the reports in the national media and social media about the flooded areas. And a few years ago, we would remember when the same Woodland area and Davie and so on was impacted severely again by flooding. And we had gone out there at that time to assist the residents. So we were fairly certain that they would need assistance again from the impact of these heavy rains. And of course, we don't look at the weather reports, and we have an orange level alert, and you're being advised to not walk through water and drive through these flooded roads. Because we also have to remember that not all the roads are perfectly safe to drive on, whether it is flooded or not. And if it is flooded and you can't see the level of what you're driving on, you're certainly going to end up in a problem, as we see day after day on social media and national TV, where the vehicles end up in ditches and off the road.
I think the condition of the roads has been in a deplorable state for months, if not years. Coming through, because I'm kind of familiar with the area, because if you come through some parts of Faizabad and you go through Timital and then you come to Woodland and so on. So I know inside there how it is, and parts of the road have been in disrepair for a long time, for the longest while. And the people complaining last week about the fact that they're not seeing, or they're not feeling the presence of their MP, my good friend Mr. Tanku, to what extent that is an issue with them?
Well, Andy, I can't speak for the MP, but I understand that he was there, and some of the councillors were there assisting residents. Maybe given the area, I know that it was difficult to traverse the normal roadways. It was just impossible to go through, regardless of the size of truck that you had. And not everyone has access to a boat. And if you have a boat, it's by paddle. It can't be engine operated because of the type of the course that you have to traverse to get to people's homes. But I understand the residents were saying, yes, the MP was there, but to what extent, I can't say, but we know that there was assistance coming from the corporation level, the MP level. But obviously, if there are complaints, it means that not enough was done. And whether that is a result of a lack of resources or a lack of communication, we need to have a plan. It's very easy with drone technology to see where the flooded areas were, where it will happen again, and how to take preemptive action to prevent it from reoccurring. What do we need to do? Dredge the rivers more, ensure that people don't divert water courses, ensure that they don't dump debris into the rivers. That is not their garbage dump. The river is for free-flowing water to take the water out to the sea. And if it is unable to do that, the same persons who complain about lack of government assistance and the MP not helping and the council are not available are the same ones responsible for their own doom with the floods when it comes.
All right, so what do you suggest then as a means of going forward and preventing, to the extent that it is possible, recurrences like these?
We need to get some experts into the areas, we know where the floods happen year after year, advise people. Well, we hear the government putting out advertisements, don't build on the riverbanks, try not to build low-level homes and so on. But some people are not able to do that from a financial perspective. And we also have to remember that because the cost of living is increasing, cost of building materials going up. In fact, we in the process of doing a survey to see where we can assist householders who need building materials. That is now that the cleanup process is almost complete. Some people will need to rebuild their structures to make it livable. I mean, we saw homes where people with their animals, they had to take them to higher levels in order to feed them, to ensure that they wouldn't drown. And they were well taken care of. And these animals, of course, provide food for them, whether through sale or personal consumption.
Yes.
And it begs the question, Andy, that enough is not being done to assist flood-prone citizens of the country. And we need to get corporation level involved, the state level involved, highway experts, technological people who are trained in how to deal with flooded areas. And even if there is a flood, how fast we can remove the water from the areas. We have what pumps not being in operation, maybe not enough pumps, floodgates, all these things operational. Is there a plan that it's supposed to be serviced once a month, once in 6 months, every quarter? Who ensures that these systems remain in operation and they work effectively when we have the perennial rainy season that comes up on us year after year? We expect that rain will fall, we expect floods will happen. And then when we get to the water courses, you see some of them overgrown with bush, fallen trees, some of the side roads, if I could say that, impassable. So not even vehicular assistance could get into these areas to repair what has to be done.
All right, we're gonna leave it there, but let's hope that so your participation in this, your decision to undertake a mission like that, as it were, would help in terms of what you're saying, that how things need to be done differently to prevent, to the extent that is possible, recurrences like this. And the weather will be what it is, but the impact doesn't have to be the same if what you're saying there, if some of these things are taken into account and address the situation ahead of time. But thank you very much, Mr. Singh.
Thank you for the time, Andy, and to Trinidad and Tobago. Be safe out there. Have a great day and Merry Christmas. And hopefully, we will have a better 2023 and have a good weekend.
All right, thank you very much. We will take a break. Stay with us.
At Belgroves, celebrating life is our commitment with integrity, compassion, and dignity for your loved ones. Belgroves Funeral Home and Crematorium, serving Trinidad and Tobago for over a century.
Horse-eyed nights, hands and bars, making your home a work of art.
Step into a spacious place of creative ideas for your home space. Our floor and wall tiles and natural stone is ideal for any use you need in your home. Toilet, bathroom sets and vanities lend design to your creativity, while jacuzzis and shower enclosures create the mood for dwelling on life's pleasures. Lamps and lighting fixtures add ambience and memorable pictures.
Horse-eyed nights, hands and bars, making your home a work of art.
Oceans Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marabella.
Welcome to the American University of Barbados School of Medicine. We offer 2 comprehensive MD programs, 5.5-year program for high school finishers and 4-year program for college graduates.
The American University of Barbados has been accredited with the Barbados Accreditation Council, BAC, and has been accredited
by CAMHP.
As the medical school has affiliate hospitals at Baltimore and Chicago in the USA and the Caribbean islands.
Register now for the next intake, January 2023.
Whether it's your family meet and eat or your own personal getaway retreat, a business trip, accommodation, or a couple's celebration, the Cocoa Reef Resort and Spa has room for you. There's always sumptuous, delicious cuisine and the gym and tennis court for a good workout routine. Then relax by the pool or on the private beach, or just head to the spa. It's also within reach. The Cocoa Reef Resort and Spa, Tobago's best beach resort. For reservations, call 639-8571 or check our website.
Your Christmas is safe with us at BCU. Police Credit Union. Police Credit Union. Your Christmas is safe with us at BCU. Police Credit Union. BCU. Police Credit Union.
Get an easy zero-interest Christmas loan at Police Credit Union today. Borrow up to $25,000 with affordable monthly payments. New members, you get up to $10,000. No interest, no installments until January. Apply online at www.policecreditunion.com. Loan subject to credit approval.
Better Value Limited has been making gift giving easier and more affordable for over 26 years. Power tools, indoor, outdoor furniture and accessories, mini appliances, designer fragrances, houseware and home decor products, and all your bridal registry items. Now in stock, our stylish loft bed and study desk combo unit for just $16.50. Better Value Limited. Call 235-3709 or visit us at Princestown or Gulfview, or check our Facebook page.
We make moving simple and easy. No job too big or too small. Pro Movers Transportation, Moving and Logistics. We provide quality delivery service across TNT. Call us today at 779-0802 or see us on Facebook. Same day delivery.
All right, so we're heading up to the top of the hour where there'll be news following which we'll have a discussion with Mr. Colin Graves. He's the head of PR at Digicel. They're talking about the installation of collection bins for e-waste at the company. We'll get to that when we get there, but right now, let's head up there with a look at what's happening around the region. We go to Greendot, where they say that come early next year, 2023, consumers will be paying a little less on some food products. We have a report on that from the GBS in Greendot.
With the continued rise in cost of living being felt globally, government is putting measures in place, as Prime Minister Honorable Dickon Mitchell highlighted, to shield citizens from the devastating impact of high prices, especially on food, fuel, and other necessities. Effective February 2023, a number of food and other items will be exempted from VAT, with a review to be conducted by December of 2023. That announcement came Monday during Prime Minister Mitchell's budget delivery.
Items include 1. Soya chunks, 2. Veggie patties, 3. olive oil. 4, canola oil. 5, soybean oil. 6, sunflower oil. 7, coconut oil. 8, red kidney beans. 9, black eyed peas. 10, lentil peas. 11, hand sanitizers. 12, adult diapers. 13, baby diapers. 14, toothpaste. 15, toilet paper. 16, bathing soap. 17, laundry soap. 18, sanitary napkins. And 19, condoms.
The exemption of VAT on these items is also aligned with government's policy to support healthy eating and lifestyles. The Prime Minister explained how these measures will be supported.
For the cost of living relief measures and to support our strategic priorities, we will implement the following. Effective February 1, 2023, increase the excise tax on alcohol from $1.10 and $4.40 per litre to $1.50 and $5 per litre, and the excise tax on cigarettes from 105% to 200%. Effective February 1, 2023, Mr. Speaker, increase the VAT on carbonated beverages, soft drinks, sodas, and drinks with high sugar content from 15% to 20%.
Water and electricity will also realize some adjustments.
Effective February 1, 2023, reinstate the environmental levy rate of $5 and $10 on electricity consumption as follows. Between 100 and 150 kilowatt hours, a mere $5, and over 150 kilowatt hours, a mere $10. Effective February 1, 2023, apply an environmental levy on water usage as follows. Between 2,800 and 5,500 gallons, $5, and over 5,500, $10. Thank you. Effective February 1, 2023, Mr. Speaker, institute a no printing of more than 5 pages policy across the entire public service.
Well, let's takes us up to the top of the hour. We break for news, on the other side of which we're talking to Mr. Colin Graves about the installation of collection bins for e-waste in Trinidad and Tobago. Stay with us.
This is your WESN News on the Hour. I'm Sean Michael Small. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. Members of Parliament receive 200 Christmas food cards. Opposition MP slams acting commissioner's leave in height of crime. And internationally, U.S. House of Representatives passes LGBTQ marriage protections. Now for the details. A total of 8,200 food support cards were distributed to members of Parliament as the Ministry of Social Development seeks to ensure that vulnerable families who are experiencing hardship and are unable to fully provide for the nutritional needs of their respective families are provided with the necessary support. The Christmas food card distribution is an annual activity undertaken by the ministry, in keeping with the spirit of caring and giving that the season of Christmas represents. Members of Parliament were given approximately 200 cards each for distribution by Minister Donna Cox at the ministry's head office on St. Vincent Street, Port of Spain. The food support cards are valued at $550. Opposition member Dinesh Rambali has slammed the acting top cop for taking vacation leave at a time when the country's crime rate is at its worst. He is questioning whether the top cop was mandated to go on leave or whether he was technically fired.
This does not sound like a commissioner of police going on a well-deserved vacation. It sounds like an acting commissioner of police who has been dismissed from his duties after the worst murder rate in our history. How can anyone justify a 35-day vacation leave after nearly 600 persons in our nation have been murdered? Furthermore, Mr. Jacobs is leaving just as we go into the Christmas season, when crime normally escalates.
After 4 years of discussions of concepts, followed by complex and difficult negotiations, the Energy Minister signed agreements and term sheets with the shareholders of Atlantic LNG, BPTT, Shell TT, and NGC. These agreements and term sheets set out the commercial terms for the restructuring of Atlantic LNG into a unitized entity, new and increased shareholding for TNT via the NGC, access to Atlantic LNG by third parties, and new and improved pricing are some of the major issues agreed upon. This is all forecasted to bode well for the future generations and importantly for the energy security in Trinidad and Tobago. It is the first time that this has been done, and it is indeed another proud achievement for Trinidad and Tobago. Internationally, the United States House of Representatives has voted once more to pass the Respect for Marriage Act, a bill that would enshrine federal protections for same-sex and interracial marriages. An earlier version of the bill first passed in the House back in July, in a surprise bipartisan vote that brought 47 Republicans together with the Democratic majority for an overall vote of 267 to 157. Well, that's the news on the hour on WESN. My name is Sean Michael Small. Thanks for watching.
Have a content capital Christmas. It's the best time of the year. Now I know we have no snow, but Christmas is still here. Ho ho, the Christmas shows each week for all to see. Movie classics wait for you and our local content for free. Have a content capital Christmas, and in case you didn't hear, oh by golly, have a content capital Christmas this year.
Welcome back to the program. We're talking now with Mr. Colin Graves. He's the Digicel head of PR. The conversation has to do with the installation of collection bins for e-waste at the company. The installation of the collection bins comes as a result of a partnership between the Basel Convention Regional Center for Training and Technology Transfer for the Caribbean and Digicel, where persons can be a part of a national collection drive for used and end-of-life mobile phones. Mr. Graves, good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Hi, good morning, and thank you definitely for having me and for having this, facilitating this important discussion.
All right. Well, talk about it. Now, if you say it's an important discussion, why is it important?
So the thing is that of course, global warming is now affecting the world more than ever before, and we're seeing the effects. We're seeing more storms. I mean, your previous interview went into detail a lot about flooding. We're seeing warmer temperatures and things like that. And across the board, we need to take more direct action in terms of trying to save the environment and environmentally sound practices in and within our business operations. Now, at Digicel, one of the things that, of course, we are popularly known for, apart from digital services, is the retail of mobile devices. I mean, our network is built on the fact that everyone has a mobile device in some kind of capacity, or a technological device was installed within their home or their business place. And what is happening more and more now is that we're seeing around the world where these things are becoming e-waste, they're becoming junk, they're just ending up in landfills. The 2020 World Bank statistics showed that for every 100 people in TNT, there are 144 mobile subscriptions. Many people have 2 phones in their pockets right now as we speak. And the thing is, also as technology evolves and devices become more and more affordable, I mean, this is Digicel's 16th anniversary in TNT, and one of the big things of when we launched in this country was that we made mobile handsets even more affordable. I mean, right now you can get a device for $250, brand new, out of box. Similarly, we have new plans now where even for this Christmas season, we're giving kids a new mobile plan for $400 for 3 months. It works up to like $150. So when you think about how affordable these phones are now compared to what they were like previously, people change their phones quickly. It's not even a question of a doubt of, am I going to get a new phone for Christmas? Yes, Christmas is coming. Let's get the kids new phones. So the thing is, when in discussions and also from talking to our staff and everything, what do you do with the old phone? What do you do with the old devices? Leave them in a drawer until you do your cleaning at some point in time, and then what you do? Just dump them in the bin. Now, the reality is that these phones and devices have a lot of toxins in them. There are a lot of chemicals from nickel and leads and all sorts of things that are within these devices. And as they go into the landfills, it may not be a now problem, but it's going to be a tomorrow problem for the kids and in future generations, that we're polluting water courses, we're polluting the environment, we're polluting groundwater sources, we're polluting the soil. And the reality is that in order for us to prevent these things, one thing that we're definitely supporting is with the BCRC and the Basel Convention here for the Caribbean, is this initiative on the responsible recycling or disposal of used mobile devices.
All right, so what is the specificity about the Basel Convention regarding that?
Right, so what they have done is that their partnership between multiple conventions, such as the Stockholm Convention and the Rotterdam Convention and stuff, and each of them focus on a different area of how waste is going to affect the environment. So this one is basically how waste moves throughout the world. So water courses are basically anywhere. Same water in Trinidad is going to end up in Ghana, it's going to end up in the US. And because of that, when it's polluted, the same thing is going to happen. So it's important that across the board, all of these different countries sign on to these various conventions to implement standards of how things are disposed of, standards of the levels of pollution or waste that we're going to have or not have, and things that we can do to help mitigate the effects of such. So within the Caribbean, the BCRC team reached out to Canto as well as the Ministry of Planning and Development, Piranha International, which is a recycling company, and of course some key stakeholders from TAT, Telecommunications Authority, Digicel, TSTT, Bmobile, and they create this national working group to determine how we can best solve this increasing problem of these mobile devices that are just being thrown into the dumps and stuff like that. So the idea here is that they facilitated the creation of these recycled bins, and they're very small, neat, very safe and compact. And we now have 9 distribution centers in Trinidad and 1 in Tobago, whereas members of the public can now go to these various facilities and dispose of these mobile phones responsibly. And responsibly meaning you clear the data and information of your device, even though the bin is secured, but you wipe your phone clean and stuff like that. Bring it into one of the locations. So at Digicel, for instance, we have locations in San Grande. We just put one in Independence Square, downtown Port of Spain, in our new store at Excellence City Center. There's one in C3 Center. We have one in Tobago. And the reality is that, and also Penal Day Bay area. And you can just go into the stores free of charge and recycle your phones, put it into the bin, and then the process from there, once the bins have gotten a couple of phones in it, Piranha International, they come and they have a lot of technology and of course the best practices of how to responsibly dismantle, recycle, take apart, crush some pieces, put other pieces to other uses and stuff like that to make sure that the chemicals and the materials within the mobile devices don't just end up in the landfills.
Where are they from, Piranha?
They're an international company, but they have branches and they operate here in TNT as well. So the Basel Convention they have a partnership with them. They've been on board and they are doing this. Now, the great thing about this entire initiative is that if you were to go and call them yourselves to have, for instance, your phones or tablets and stuff recycled, there's usually a cost that's associated with it. It's not a free service.
Yeah.
However, through this partnership with the BCRC and the Ministry of Planning and Development and all of the other partners, this is now free to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So you can take all of your old mobile devices, your kids' phones, the phones you've had, your legacy devices that are just in a drawer there for years, and now you can bring them in and have them recycled for absolutely free.
Yeah. I think you called some areas, 9 areas, right? But I was with the ones for this south, I think you said Penal.
Yes, so we have a Digicel store in Penal, and there's a bin in there. There's also one in our Digicel store in C3. For the folks in the east, we have one in Sangre Grande. In Port of Spain, we have one here, and we're moving to one in Tobago as well. And similarly, with the other partners on the BCRC's website, there's also a lot of information there where you can find the other locations, because there are locations in Bmobile's outlets, there are locations with some of the other partners as well. Because the idea is to, of course, make it simple, because we know how we can get. The easier it is and the closer it is to us, as the higher potential and opportunity that we will have to do it on, on passing on the way to work, on the way to school. And that's why for us at Digicel, it was important for us specifically to include one of these bins in our downtown Port of St. store. Just 2 months ago, we would have launched a brand new store at the Excellent City Centre in downtown Port of Spain, simply because it's a lot more accessible to people. So we would have moved our legacy store from Maraval Road, where it would have been from inception, and moved it to Independence Square. And the reason there was that we needed to get more of the people on the ground, where you don't have to travel to get to the store. You're already in Port of Spain doing your business and work. A lot of children going home from school. And of course, Excellent City Centre is really highly traversed. So it became a fantastic opportunity for us to engage the public there, put one of the bins within that store. You can literally just pop in, run in quickly, deposit the device, and get on there. And then, of course, we take it from there, liaising with the partners to ensure that it's recycled responsibly.
Right, because I was looking at some places that are sort of in the extremities of the country. There's a Point Fortin, for instance, or Maruga, Mayaro.
And our intention is to really expand.
Expand that.
And we want to get there. I mean, this project only recently launched here a couple months, maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And where we're getting to is that we hope that even within Carnival, who knows, we want to start putting these bins within popular spaces. And so as more and more people come out, because it's really important as well that we reignite, especially within the children and the next generation, the notion of recycling. We need to make sure that we keep a clean scene. Of course, very happy to see Swim Call would have come back out with the Chase Charlie Away campaign.
Yeah.
And of course, we would have known the effects of that previously and how important that was. Just in making recycling cool, making it the thing to do. You finish, drink something, you put it in the correct receptacle, whether it be plastic or glass or paper. And in this case, e-waste.
Yeah.
Because it makes no sense that we're creating all of these devices and every year is new upgrades on your phone and everybody wants to get the latest device, and then, it now becomes burdensome on the environment and have negative impacts. So we truly hope that by doing this, we really encourage the next generation and also parents, grandparents, to reignite the concept of recycling, not just mobile devices in this case, but that this is the catalyst to really start other things and getting people back into that fray.
Yeah, because I wanted to ask what intelligence you all have about the whole approach to recycling. There's a culture about it in Trinidad and Tobago. Are we there, are we getting there, or are we not?
Well, I think the BCRC Swim Call, we've been getting a lot of engagement from various partners involved. So, for instance, Swim Call has been actively reaching out to us to work with them on the Chase Charlie Away campaign, because they are seeing that here in TNT in particular, a lot more strategic and out-of-the-box thinking is needed to really penetrate. So once upon a time, it might have been a television ad and a print ad in the daily press. Now we're seeing the need for a lot more face-to-face interaction and engagement. We're seeing music trucks in the street and campaigns with people engaging on the Brian Lara Promenade and all throughout the country. And things like this really tell us that the entire way of how we communicate with people has changed. From social media now has become so saturated that you're now seeing brands, again, coming off of social media and actively going into the community, going into the schools, engaging people. And we're really working with all of these different partners to try to encourage that. So we want to really get back into that culture of recycling. It's a great question. I think it's something that we'll follow up on to see the effects of which, to see if they've been measuring how much folks have been starting to get back into that habit. Definitely with us and this project of having customers, and it's not just for Digicel customers, it's both for customers and non-customers alike. So, but we have been seeing an uptake in terms of how many of them have been coming into the store. People have been bringing in devices, some of the bins really have been filling up. So we're really happy about that, simply because it shows that there was a need for this service. And only when people realize, oh yeah, I do have a couple of phones home in a drawer somewhere, and I can now responsibly get rid of it. So we just hope that this is a catalyst to other areas and other industries and other sectors doing the same types of activities.
Right, and you say for every 100 persons,
there are 144 mobile
devices.
Yeah.
Subscriptions.
Well, subscriptions are linked to devices.
Right.
So when you think about it, you're talking 2 million phones. And the reality is when there are plans again that sell mobile devices for $159 and $250 now, like there's no hesitance with people don't hesitate anymore to switch a device. Drop your phone, the screen crack, I'll go get a new one tomorrow. And we have been seeing that. We have been seeing an uptake on a lot of these new plans, especially with the younger ones. So right now for Christmas, of course, we're working on bridging the digital divide and digital transformation and digitization and digitalization and all of these buzz terms that go around. But of course, when you look now, children, I have a 2-year-old niece. She knows how to unlock the tablet, go to her YouTube, find whatever. At 2, I didn't know anything like that,
It didn't even exist.
We were struggling even as adults to figure out how to navigate these devices. So the reality is that kids now have so much of more inclination and insight into how to use these devices. So we know the turnover is going to be even faster. We would have just launched a Christmas campaign here, something called my first bundle for children. And for $400 for 3 months of free service, and a device is coming with that. We've seen a huge uptick there as well. So when we realize that, wow, there's a really big uptake on parents just getting new devices for their kids, we want to make sure that at least when on the purchase of each of these devices, that they're told, hey, if you're replacing a device for your child, bring in the old one, let's get rid of it responsibly. Or even when this phone is time to swap it out, remember that you can bring it in and we'll recycle it for free for you.
Yeah, but in the meantime, I'm looking at, I'm picturing, sometimes you're driving down and you see it by the policeman dump, and you're driving down the highway when you get to Claxton Bay, you see the people who sort of go, and I've seen it again in Arima, the dumping site there. There are people who go and specialize in kind of retrieving some of the things. And
because a lot of people dispose of things not necessarily because they're not good, just that they've gotten a replacement, and many times they don't know what to do with the old one. It's taking up space. I just got a new one, I don't need this old one anymore. And a lot of the things are actually good. So in the recycling process, what they do is, of course, they take apart the devices and take out the parts that can be recycled and used for other things. And of course, they ensure that some other parts are decommissioned in an appropriate way with various chemicals and stuff like that. Other things are crushed to make sure that that they minimize the footprint of such. So it's an entire process that they've thing, and we've really been happy to support the entire drive and working with all these stakeholders to really push this agenda of having people learn to recycle these end-of-life devices.
Can you speak at all about the approach of Digicel to how it? I'm trying to find a term to describe that kind of forward-looking thinking kind of approach to life.
Generally, part of the ethos and part of the spirit within the company has always been about positive community involvement. Even through our Digicel Foundation, they would have just celebrated 10 years. And the investment of talking tens of millions of US dollars already here in TNT in community development programs. Last week we would have launched and opened the new home of the Special Olympics of Trinidad and Tobago after funding the build out of their secretariat with some other partners. And this is another one of those initiatives. We always say as a corporate citizen, the buzzword CSR, what's your corporate social responsibility?
Yes.
And for us, it's of course community development. So in the sporting activities we sponsor from our days of football and cricket and all of these things, so of course the social initiatives with the foundation and the various grants and community support that we do on building play parks and community gyms and these things that we also do. And now realizing that because we sell so many mobile devices, that also creates a problem or contributes to a worldwide problem. And this is another step of us trying to be as responsible as possible and saying, hey, we've been contributing to this problem indirectly or so, but let's implement a solution as which people can do that, because that's important and that's built into the fabric of the brand. And if you look at everything we do, it's always an element of the brand.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at. There seems to be a real commitment, deeply held commitment to CSR and so on.
Yeah, and I would say that comes from the chairperson, from Dennis O'Brien, straight down. I mean, the work that happens at Digicel Haiti and the work that happens in the foundations all throughout the world and stuff, especially here and what we've done with the Special Olympics of Trinidad and Tobago. That actually was Digicel's first sponsorship in TNT. And it still is one of our running sponsorships today. And we definitely are not one of those throw money behind something and walk away type of brands. I mean, if you come into the office, we have an entire, what we call it, the Red Army, that is really staff and employees mobilized and out there on the ground being a part of these things because it's built into the fabric of the brand. So, for instance, annually there's something we do called Play Unified. And because we sponsor Special Olympics and all of these different initiatives, we think it's important that we bring our employees out with their families and their children, and we have a play day with kids from all these special needs schools. So they all come, we put them in mixed up teams, and there's a big sports day, and it's exclusive to our employees, their families, their children. And you would see by doing things like this, you're encouraging, and we've been teaching and seeing the impact of children learning how to play with children with different needs and different abilities. Children knowing how to be empathetic and knowing how to show a different side of themselves and realizing that sometimes they have to put their needs second and third. And that's just one project out of so many others that we've been working on. So that's definitely built into the brand. The employees are definitely always on board, always willing to go out there. They spent the last couple weekends painting community centers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's all volunteerism. Like the employees, our employees at Digicel, they really come out and they're part of it. It's just built into the fabric of the brand.
All right, this is just the sort of the latest initiative in
And this is the latest initiative from on our mobile consumer side. So of course there's the foundation side, there's B2B and what business does with all these incubator programs and stuff to help businesses learn about digital transformation and stuff for free. And there are a lot of things like that. On the Digicel Plus side, they've been sponsoring schools with free internet and Wi-Fi throughout the entire penal DB and the entire country, especially during COVID. And now on the mobile side, this initiative on recycling is their way of making sure that we positively contribute back to the society.
Very good show. And the installation of collection bins for e-waste at Digicel. Colin Grave, thanks you very much.
Thank you so much for having us.
You're very welcome. We will take a break and come back before we go. Stay with us.
Is there not a cause? Is there not a cause needs more help and volunteers for the many outreach events during this busy, critical season? You can volunteer and help in many ways. Your time, your talent or skills, your resources, or your finances. Is There Not a Cause is making a difference one life at a time. Check Is There Not a Cause's Facebook page for a calendar of outreach and fundraiser events and share where you can volunteer or WhatsApp 394-2042.
Better Value Limited has been making gift giving easier and more affordable for over 26 years. Power tools, indoor, outdoor furniture and accessories, mini appliances, designer fragrances, houseware and home decor products, and all your bridal registry items. Now in stock, our stylish loft bed and study desk combo unit for just $16.50. Better Value Limited. Call 235-3709 or visit us at Princestown or Gullview, or check our Facebook page.
Take your list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the Specialist Highway.
Get all you need for your interior or exterior projects, from finishing accessories to small or large tools. We're known for our range of doors, flooring, moldings, medallions, even fountain pumps and tanks. Check us out. We have what you need to get that job done.
Take your list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the Specialist Highway.
Oceans Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marbella.
Whether it's acid reflux, cataracts, glaucoma, a swollen prostate, diabetes, or weight loss, customized health solutions has been helping Trinidad and Tobago for over 2 decades. So let us help you. Call 627-2640 for your Compass assessment now.
Welcome to the American University of Barbados School of Medicine. We offer 2 comprehensive MD programs, 5.5-year program for high school finishers and 4-year program for college graduates.
The American University of Barbados has been accredited with the Barbados Accreditation Council, BAC, and has been accredited
by CAMHP.
As the medical school has affiliate hospitals at Baltimore and Chicago in the USA and the Caribbean islands.
Register now for the next intake, January 2023.
Whether it's your family meet and eat or your own personal getaway retreat, a business trip accommodation or a couple's celebration, the Cocoa Reef Resort and Spa has room for you. There's always sumptuous, delicious cuisine and the gym and tennis court for a good workout routine. Then relax by the pool or on the private beach or just head to the spa. It's also within reach. The Cocoa Reef Resort and Spa, Tobago's best beach resort. For reservations, call 639-8571 or check our website.
Making your home a work of art.
Step into a spacious place of creative ideas for your home space. Our floor and wall tiles and natural stone is ideal for any use you need in your home. Toilet, bathroom sets and vanities lend design to your creativity, while jacuzzis and shower enclosures create the mood for dwelling on life's pleasures. Lamps and lighting fixtures add ambience and memorable pictures.
Horseside Heights, tiles and bath, making your home a work of art.
Hosins Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marabella.
Well, we get to that point of the program where we say thanks for watching. We thank our guests. We tell you to stay with us here at AM Prime on WESN. You can check us out on all our social media platforms. You could send your emails to amprime@wesncc. That will do it for us for this edition. We thank you for watching. In half an hour, the guys come in for today's edition of Talking Point. Before that, there's news at the top of the hour. But for now, we're done. I'm Andy Johnson. Have a good weekend. Stay with us.